Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He was full of energy, always curious about the world around him, and like most children, loved to play and have fun. But like many kids his age, he often struggled with the idea of time. Time, to him, was something that simply passed by without much thought. Schoolwork was something he procrastinated on. Chores were put off until the last minute, and he spent hours scrolling through his phone, wasting precious hours away. Ethan's parents, especially his mother, would often remind him, "Time is your most valuable asset. Don't waste it." But to him, it was just another piece of advice he'd heard 1,000 times and never really thought much about. After all, he had his whole life ahead of him, didn't he? One afternoon, Ethan was sitting in his room, scrolling through social media, when a sudden knock on the door startled him. It was his grandfather, a wise old man who had lived through many years of both hardship and triumph. He looked at Ethan with a soft yet serious expression. "Grandpa, what's up?" Ethan asked, putting his phone down. His grandfather smiled warmly. "Ethan, I want to tell you a story." Ethan, curious, put his phone aside completely and sat up on his bed. Grandpa sat beside him, his voice steady and calm. "When I was your age, I thought I had all the time in the world. I was just like you, thinking there would always be more time tomorrow. School was a drag. I didn't take my studies seriously, and I often wasted time doing things that didn't matter. My friends and I would play all day, and when the sun set, we'd say, 'There's always tomorrow.' But you know what happened? Tomorrow never came in the way I thought it would." Ethan leaned forward, intrigued. "What do you mean, Grandpa?" Grandpa sighed, staring out the window for a moment, as if lost in the memories of the past. "As I got older, I realized something. While I was busy wasting time, life was moving ahead, and opportunities were slipping by. By the time I decided to take things seriously, I was already behind. The scholarship I wanted was given to someone who had been working hard while I was distracted. The dreams I had of becoming a writer, well, I could have started years ago, but I didn't. And now I have only a few years left to chase those dreams, but I can't get those lost years back. They're gone." Ethan's eyes widened. "But Grandpa, can't you still do those things now?" Grandpa smiled faintly, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and hope. "Of course, I can still try, Ethan. But the truth is, I can't undo the time I lost. I can't go back to when I was your age and take advantage of every moment the way I should have." Ethan's mind was racing. "So, what should I do, Grandpa? I don't want to end up like that." Grandpa nodded, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Listen closely. Time is the one thing that, once gone, can never be regained. You can make money again, you can rebuild relationships, and you can recover from mistakes. But time is different. Every minute you waste is a minute you'll never get back. And when you're older, you'll look back and either regret that you didn't use it wisely, or you'll be proud of the way you spent it." Ethan felt a deep weight in his chest. "So how do I make sure I don't waste time?" Grandpa's eyes brightened, his tone becoming more hopeful. "It starts with awareness. Every moment is an opportunity. In school, don't just think of grades as something to check off. Think of them as stepping stones. Every subject, every project is a chance to learn something new, to prepare yourself for your future. And outside of school, the same applies. Don't get caught up in distractions. Find time for things that truly matter, things that help you grow, help you improve, and help you become the person you want to be." Ethan sat there in silence, absorbing his grandfather's words. His mind began to shift. The next day at school, Ethan focused more on his studies, not because he had to, but because he understood the importance of each moment. He stopped procrastinating, realized the value of his assignments, and started setting aside time to do things that genuinely helped him grow, like reading books, writing, and even spending quality time with his family. As the months passed, Ethan's life began to change. He became more disciplined, and his teachers noticed his improved performance. He began to feel more confident in himself, and he started seeing the world not as a place where time would always be there for him, but as a place where every second counted. Years later, Ethan found himself standing at his graduation ceremony, holding his diploma with pride. He looked back on the journey and realized how much he had accomplished, how much he had learned, and how much he had grown. And most importantly, he realized that the key to his success had always been the time he had chosen to use wisely. As he stood there, his grandfather's words echoed in his mind. Time is your most valuable asset. Don't waste it. And in that moment, Ethan understood. He had made the most of his time, and in doing so, he had set himself on a path to a life full of endless possibilities.